Okay. Good morning, half century Trojans. I'm Bob Lutz, co-chair of the Half Century Trojans Global Outreach Committee. And with me is co-chair and Global Outreach Committee founder, Sally Edwards. Today, we have the pleasure to explore in this, our sixth interview, some alumni experiences from France. So far, we have engaged in six, this being our sixth interview. First with Dubai, Mexico, Philippines, Vietnam, Sweden, and now France. And I just want to remind everyone of the purposes of this type of interview. It's to impress upon the U.S. alumni that our alumni friends are worldwide in all parts of the world, that the half century Trojan and other alums can learn through our interviews about how an SC education benefits foreign alums in a variety of special ways. And finally, to recognize that USC is a university of international status and international reach. Without further ado, Sally, do you want to introduce our guests?
Thank you, Bob. We are so fortunate to have two Parisians with us today. We have Leslie Nelson Creasy, who received her bachelor's in 1982 in international relations with a minor in global business. She is a USC two-time U.S. National Volleyball Champion and received the Scholar Athlete Award of Honor as a senior. Leslie is a Paris-based children's entertainment professional with over 25 years of international experience in television. Her experiences ranges from startups to working with global companies such as Mattel, Warner Brothers, American Greetings, DIC Entertainment, and BKN International. Throughout her career, Leslie has built children's entertainment properties based on toys, television series, publishing, and video games in Europe and worldwide. Bilingual with a global perspective, Leslie launched and was the director of two European subsidiaries for U.S. animation studios, managing multicultural teams and projects across 90 countries. Leslie has been serving her alma mater as president of the USC Alumni Club of Paris since 2009. And also with us today, we have Tu-Wan Lawson Fan. And Tu-Wan received her bachelor's degree from USC in 2010. Based in Paris, Tu-Wan holds master degrees from the Sorbonne University, the London School of Economics and Sciences, Po Paris. Tu-Wan is the co-founder of Karam, an innovative consumer tech startup revolutionizing how people connect through their experiences. Her passion for fostering meaningful connections is at the core of Karam, which now boasts a community of over 6,000 members in Paris, New York, and London. With over a decade of experience in international development, Tu-Wan has been a driving force at the World Bank, spearheading private sector engagement initiatives across Africa. She's worked on bridging the digital divide, enhancing financial access, and empowering women and young entrepreneurs. Her efforts have cultivated stakeholder engagement and partnerships across Europe, North America, and Sub-Saharan Africa. Tu-Wan is also a very active member of the USC Alumni Club of Paris Steering Committee. So I have to say, you both have very, very impressive bios, and we're so proud of you. and feel very fortunate to be interviewing you today. And so I wanted to ask you, how did you get started in your careers? And maybe since I just finished with Tuan, maybe Tuan, you might begin briefly telling us how you got started.
Yes, of course. Thanks so much, Sally. I'm really glad to be here today. Um, so after USC, I pursued my master's in both Paris and London, and I came back to Paris for work, to work with the World Bank on economic development in Africa. And now I launched Karam, my startup, about a couple of years ago. And yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what to add. Obviously, USC gave me the international perspective, and sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Did you want to continue more?
No, sorry. I mean, I feel like I've diverged a bit. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. Leslie, what about you? And what's fun to have a mom and toys and all that.
Well, first, I just also want to say that my eldest son is also a Trojan. So he got his master's from the Viterbi School. So we still, and my third son is a resident of California and he's a professional tennis player. So that brings me back to Los Angeles on multiple occasions throughout the year, which is great. But when I graduated from USC, I traveled 3 months throughout Europe with a backpack and fell in love with Paris. So when I returned to LA, worked, saved up, came back to Paris, and the first thing I did was, in order to meet people through my membership at the LA Athletic Club, I was able to sign up with the Centre Intérieur, which is a very prestigious club. And I went there every day, hoping to meet people to help kickstart my job, because I really just wanted to have a 1 year abroad in Paris. So the goal was a 1 year abroad. I met an American woman whose husband was a headhunter, and he landed me my first job. So once again, it's all about meeting people, connections, and it all comes together. So my first job was in working for a licensing and merchandising agent, who was one of the largest in Europe, and we managed all of the US studios, US toy companies, iconic personalities and celebrities like Marilyn Monroe and James Dean, Charlie Chaplin. And so that was really the beginning of my career, at which time I then segued into an all rates management of international properties, or IP, where we would manage across the board all of the multimedia rights to TV shows, movies, and even toys. So
Fantastic. Well, now, so you are American and you just went there with your backpack and to see what you could discover.
well, I would not recommend to anyone to do it my way. But I did have some savings, thank goodness, after working a year in Los Angeles after I graduated. But I knew at the time there was no internet. Everything was done by the Postal Service. I knew that I was not going to land a job in Paris from Los Angeles. So I had reached out to people I knew at the university, even at the Chamber of Commerce, and I said, what does California export? Because I knew I wanted an international career and I wanted to travel. And they were telling me about avocados and lemons. I said, no, 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 no. Is there anything more compelling? And it was in Paris where I learned that the largest export out of California is entertainment.
Amazing. Oh, and that's so, but the rest of your family is here though, in Los Angeles or?
Two sons are here, my eldest and my youngest, and my middle son is actually in Geneva. So he's also an entrepreneur working in the sports industry in Geneva.
Amazing. And Tuan, now what about you? Are you Parisian born or French born or?
Yes, so I'm actually French and American. So I was born in Paris, but grew up in Paris, Tahiti, and Los Angeles. So I went to Los Angeles for my high school and my university, of course, at USC for my bachelor's, and then came back to Europe, to Paris and London for my master's, and then stayed in Paris for work,
What
even
what
though,
brought you
yes.
to USC?
So after my high school, I mean, I went to high school in Woodland Hills in California. I was actually hesitating between USC and UCLA.
Well, you ended up
And
at the right place.
thankfully, yes. And in the end, it was the ability to have smaller classes, the Trojan family connections, and the openness to the world as well that made me choose USC.
Well, I was being offered several sports student athlete scholarships, and it came down to Georgetown University or USC because I thought I was going to be a diplomat. And so when I visited both campuses, I realized that USC offered a lot more support to student athletes, and also the volleyball women were considered goddesses at the time on campus, whereas in Georgetown it was a little more pejorative to be an athlete. So hands down, I was really happy to sign with University of Southern California, and I think I say this, and my husband gets really upset, but sometimes I say that those were sometimes the 4 best years of my life.
Oh, that's great to hear.
He prefers I say they were some of my best years.
Of course. Oh, and now with the Olympics having been in Paris, and I understood you had tickets to the volleyball under the Eiffel Tower.
Oh yes, I was so fortunate to be at that venue, and it was just spectacular. Especially, I was there for an evening session, so I was there when the Eiffel Tower would light up. So that was spectacular. I also did attend some of the swimming events, and of course the opening ceremony, which was also, I'm hoping that most of you watching were able to experience that. If you did not, you can watch it as a replay. But it was just a phenomenal experience. And then with Tuan, we organized a pre-Olympic event with USC Athletics, with the Alumni Association, and with our Paris Alumni Club a couple of days before the opening ceremony. And we honored over our 61 Trojan athletes. A lot of them couldn't attend, of course, but several were there. We had traveling Trojans, we had our local Trojans, we had Trojans from various boards, USC Alumni Association boards, and also we had the London director come in from London. So it was really festive and just a wonderful event, honoring our student athlete who were, of course, Olympians. So
how many Trojan athletes participated in the Olympics?
over 61.
60.
Wow.
Yes, it was just phenomenal.
How many gold medals?
Yeah, it's the university that has the most Olympians.
Yeah.
And the most medals. So it's quite it's quite a history that we've got in the athletic department.
I understand it was something like a total 126 medals that the United States got. Something like that. I mean, it's just utterly amazing. Well, Tuan, what about you now? What has been your role lately?
With the USC Paris
Well,
Club, or?
Sure, we'd love to hear about that. And also, how did you get involved with the World Bank?
Um, sure. I mean, I was always wanting to join an international organization that had a goal that was greater than myself. And I mean, the World Bank is about reducing poverty around the world, and I was really grateful to have my first start in the working world to be at this prestigious institution, and to get to travel and be on the field, in the field, to Africa, working on operations and on important development projects in some of the most underserved countries. So yeah, it was my very first job after my master's, and so that's how I got my start with the World Bank, based in Paris, but traveling often to Africa. And yeah, I mean, ever since I've moved back to Paris, I was involved with the Paris Club, and that's how I got to know Leslie, and I became more and more involved. And I'm really, really glad to be a part of the leadership committee for the Paris Club, and yeah, and to serve as the next co-president.
I just returned a couple of weeks ago from a workshop that I did in Kenya, in Nairobi. Which countries were you involved in Africa?
Some of the most dangerous countries. So I was mostly working in the Central African Republic, Mali, DRC Congo, Burundi.
Oh, quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Not so much touristy destinations, but
now, what about Karam? How did you get your start with that?
yes. So I was always passionate about bringing people together, about food, the arts and culture, and having that international aspect. And I mean, it's quite tough to meet new people when you're not in school anymore. Even if you've lived in a city for many years, sometimes, especially after COVID, sometimes your friends move away, or they start having families, or even after COVID, many people started working remotely as well. So that makes it even more difficult. So then I met who would become my co-founder, and we wanted to find a way that was simple and safe and convenient to get to meet people, to bring people together around activities. And yeah, I mean, it's been developing quite well, and I'm really glad that that I was able to switch full time to develop my startup.
Exciting. That it's totally different type of a world, isn't it?
Yes.
When you get involved in that. That is fantastic that you're doing this.
Thank you.
Both of you left the US to make your lives in France. What would you tell a student today in terms of what SC can provide and open eyes, in other words, for students who are looking to follow that same path?
Well, I think I was very interested in the international aspect of USC. And even going back to the late 70s, early 80s, we always had a very prominent international student body and also faculty. And what I would say to students looking to attend USC is also take advantage of the fact that you can meet people from countries around the world who will give you a different perspective, tell you about different experiences. Their backgrounds will be fascinating. Their dreams and goals will be fascinating. Try to stay away just from people who are like yourselves. Try to get out of your comfort zone and go out and meet people. And I think that's what I did. And that really, I felt that being at USC in Los Angeles, California, I felt like I still had a view of the world, and it was exciting. And I think that's why I packed my bags and decided I was going to have a go at living abroad. And I don't regret it, of course. I've had a very a wonderful life, a French husband. I feel like that I'm bilingual, bicultural, that I'm comfortable in American settings and in American communities. I'm also very comfortable in French communities and the French life we have. And I think it's very, very exciting.
You
And
know,
I also tell our students to stay connected to the Alumni Association, because when I would travel for business, I'll give you an example. I was in Korea, South Korea. I was representing a producer there. And I reached out to the president of the Alumni Club. Not only did he just take my phone call, but he organized with his entire committee a lunch with me. It was phenomenal. And I say to students, I learned too late in the game that a connection to the university is beneficial to you on a personal side and on a professional side. So that's maybe a message that I'm constantly giving students and exchange students that come to Paris as well. We're not a bunch of old fogies. We have great perspectives and fabulous backgrounds, and you can learn from us. So.
and even in traveling, probably, I think as a tourist visiting some of the countries where we have alumni clubs, it'd be fun to connect with the alumni club.
Now with everything online, you can find out if there's any activities, USC alumni activities in the country you're visiting. It's very simple. So.
Now, and I looked up both of you on the internet to see what information I could find, and I saw where you host, Leslie, several people you have an actual Thanksgiving dinner.
So I would say that the other European clubs and ourselves, we try to support our signature events. And our signature event is the Trojan Family Thanksgiving event. And we've had it since, I think, 2008. And it's very well attended. Alums will try to come in from London, Munich, from other European countries. So it really is a family gathering with a traditional American Thanksgiving meal. And so that's something that we will perpetuate. And of course, Tuan, when she takes the baton from me, she will perpetuate that as well. So
that is really sweet. That's really a fun idea that you've started. And Tuan, now what about you with your family? Do you get, are they still here in Woodland Hills, or where are they living now?
So on my mom's side, they're all in Tahiti, French Polynesia. And on my dad's side, they're mostly in California.
California. So do you get back to Los Angeles very much?
Not as much as I'd like, unfortunately, but I'll try to get back soon.
When she leaves Karam in LA, she'll be back.
That's good.
We're actually launching Los Angeles next month, so very soon.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's exciting. That is really exciting. How many years now have you been at this with Karam? Have you been at it since graduation?
For Karam, no, it just launched almost like a year and a half ago now.
So it's really taken off and really grown. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
You both were fluent in French when you went to France, right?
Well, maybe I wasn't as fluent as Tuan was, but I did have some high school French. So I had the foundation of at least understanding the language, but it still took a while. It's maybe I'm not as good at languages as I thought I was, but I'm now perfectly bilingual, of course. But in Europe, if you only speak two languages, you're not interesting at all. In Europe, people speak 3, 4, 5 languages.
Right.
Now I'm learning Italian. So wish me
good luck.
So you would encourage someone who wasn't very good in French to speak French to the French?
Bien sûr.
Okay.
C'est pas impossible.
I'm very intimidated.
Our interview is going to end in a few minutes. So I was thinking about last words. Any lasting advice you can give our alumni about how we can support you in various ways, and also to future students? Any last words?
If you come to France, know you've got a Trojan family in Paris, and also we have people now in Nice. Please reach out to us and stay connected with us as well.
And
Yeah.
Tuan, did you have anything to say?
Perhaps for future students to make sure to get involved in every opportunity, every association, and community service as well. I know, especially at USC, giving back is truly part of a core value. And yeah, I'm so glad to be able to contribute to this alumni network and family. And
I just had one last question. How many members do you have in your alumni club?
Well, it depends on if you're looking at the social media. We've got on Facebook over 650 people on our Facebook account. In our emailings, so our newsletters, in Europe, as you know, there's some very strict privacy laws. So our email listing is only people who have accepted to receive our newsletters. So we've got about close to 300 on that list.
Oh, that's great.
So it's a lot more than you would imagine.
Yeah.
Yes, that is.
About our alums is that they tend to, when they come to Paris, they tend to want to stay. They don't move on. And so we have a solid base of members here who contribute and participate and who are active members. So that's really nice to see.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, Tuan, you're going to be inheriting a wonderful base.
We're going to have to stop now, but I want to thank you both for your time and for your candor. It's been a great interview, although too short, but thank you so much. Sally?
Thank you. And we'd love to meet with you if you're in Los Angeles. Let us know. We would love to meet with you and have you here at our alumni club. So take care and thank you once again.
Thank you, and lovely meeting you.
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Right on.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.